Three, two, one. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Courtside TV. And today I'm here with Logan and Noah once again. And we are going to be highlighting the blockbuster trade that went down in the NBA today. The Knicks traded Kristpas Porzingis, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Trey Burke to the Dallas Mavericks for Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and two future first-round picks. I'm not the biggest NBA fan, so that is why we have Logan and Noah in here to kind of give their thoughts over this trade. So they can go ahead and take it away and give their thoughts on how this went down.
No, I'm gonna let you take it away first. Go ahead.
Okay, so I like this trade a lot for both teams, honestly. The main thing that's gonna help Dallas really win this trade, actually, though, is gonna be, can Kristaps Porzingis stay healthy? It's been I don't think he's ever had like a season long injury the way he has this year, but he has missed quite a few games because of the way he's built, being a 7'3" guy. He's fairly skinny. Obviously he's getting stronger as he's been in the league more. But can his body hold up? I think that him and Luka Doncic together would make a great combo. Two guys have potential and the talent to go down as two of the greatest EuroLeague players in the NBA, or former EuroLeague players. And then along with that, Courtney Lee brings great shooting to that team. If they're trying to, probably not this year, maybe next year, be talented enough to make it to a championship. Obviously, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. and Trey Burke, two young guys still, both Michigan guys. No, Logan loves that. That have potential. They both put up stats in the league thus far. Tim Hardaway has done a little bit better than Burke, but combined with Luka Doncic, I think that's some guys that can really play well off each other.
Yeah, I mean this trade is just obviously there's a lot going into it, and it shows that the Knicks, which I think were already rebuilding, just took another step even further into the rebuilding process. They drafted Porzingis hoping he would be their next superstar or their next star or whatever, and hoping to build a team around him. And I think they could have, but it was almost like the Melo situation. Like, he was there. I know Melo was there a lot longer, but it was like they had this star, or this, Melo was a superstar at that time. Kristaps was becoming a superstar, and they were wanting to build around him. But really, outside of Kristaps, I mean, their draft picks were not the best. I mean, Emmanuel Mudiay was drafted and out of New York in, I believe, 2 seasons. Was it 2 seasons?
I think he was actually drafted by Denver, but yeah, I mean, he did come to New York after then.
Okay, all right. Oh yeah, my bad. So I had it the other way around. But anyway, Frank Ntilikina obviously we're yet to see what he can really do in this league, and who knows if he's going to become anything really. But the Mavericks, obviously with Luka Doncic, Dennis Smith Jr., Harrison Barnes, guys like that, they obviously want to win now. And where they're at currently, I don't think they have the chance to do that now, obviously, because Kristaps is going to be out probably the rest of the year, just to play it safe. But coming into next year, the Mavericks will definitely be going for, obviously a playoff spot and looking to win. So, like I said, this just shows that the Knicks are even further into the rebuild, and Mavericks are wanting to win now. With the Knicks, I mean, obviously now they've got a lot of room in cap, or they're going to have a lot of room in cap space once, let's see, DeAndre Jordan's contract expires this year, and Wesley Matthews. So really from this trade, the only player they're going to keep most likely is Dennis Smith Jr., and then they've got the 2 draft picks, one in 2021 and then 2023, I believe. So they're looking to get, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, guys like that. They're looking to get the big superstars in the offseason and then have those future draft picks to either build around those superstars, or even, convince them to stay. I think the most intriguing thing about this for the Knicks is the draft pick this year, because right now they're going to have the number 1 pick as of now. So if that continues and they get Zion Williamson, with all that cap space, I think Kevin Durant might end up going there, which would be really interesting, because then if you're Kyrie Irving or someone like that, then you're gonna be like, wow, they got KD, they got Zion. I mean, he'd see potential to win immediately, especially in the East. So
Okay, so this is probably going to show my NBA knowledge and lack thereof. But so we know the Warriors situation is that they can't re-sign everyone. They're going to either lose KD or Clay this coming season. So
or DeMarcus.
correct. So if Kristaps comes back healthy and Luka keeps producing and all the roles are they build good team chemistry and they play well together, could a healthy Mavs team beat a Warriors team without one of those players?
Man, that's a tough question because let's see. Okay, let's assume Clay goes to the Lakers next year, and okay, I'm gonna assume they just lose Clay. Then you're left with Steph, Katie, and DeMarcus. DeMarcus, I mean, I'm not really sure about him. I feel like he might just go take a max somewhere that he's not going to win, especially if he gets a ring this year with the Warriors. I think he might just go for the max and get the money. So in that case, you got Steph and KD, if KD stays, obviously. Then if it's broken up, if they lose two of those superstars, and they might potentially lose all or three of the four, then yes, I definitely think the Mavericks could beat them. But I'm not sure if the Mavericks would be the next team up after that to, combat the Warriors in the West. Because if the Lakers get Clay and Anthony Davis, then I think the Lakers with LeBron, Klay Thompson, and Anthony Davis, I think they're the next up to, take on the Warriors and probably overtake them. But yes, I do think the Mavericks could, have a chance at overtaking. I don't want to say overtake the Warriors because no one's going to have that dynasty like they've had the past 5 years. But I think in the next year or two, we'll definitely see it kind of fall apart.
I'm going to say absolutely not. A team with Luka Doncic and Kristpas Porzingis, two very talented guys who have yet to play in an NBA playoff basketball game, and neither of them will this year. And then you've got a Warriors team. Let's say they lose. I can't see Klay Thompson leaving without them having said, we're keeping DeMarcus Cousins and Kevin Durant because they're more valuable to us. I say that's the only reason that Klay Thompson leaves, because he can't get paid, which would be because they kept those other guys. So it's either going to be, I'd say that the worst case scenario for the Warriors is KD and DeMarcus Cousins walk, which leaves them with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. If you remember, this was the team that went 67-15 and won the finals, and then 73-9 and then blew the 3-1 lead before Kevin Durant got there. And now they don't have the same depth that they did at the time. A lot of their good role players are now a little older, but they're still with the team. Still one of the deeper teams in the league, but they're going to have that cap space that they weren't able to use on Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins to be able to sign possibly another superstar, if not 2 to 3 other good role players to support, which is something they haven't really had. Like they had, except for their first 2 seasons together before they got KD, they had Andrew Bogut, who didn't score a lot, but he did a lot of the little things. It's kind of what Draymond is now to that team. Draymond is still, I believe, able to return. I'm not going to say all-star form, because the only reason he was ever an all-star was because of how successful their team was, but that he can produce a little bit more than he is now. Right now, he's the 5th option on the team, so he's like, okay, I don't need to score. Let me pass the ball to the guys who can score. He's a great team player and rebound, do the little things. And then they're going to be – and they had Harrison Barnes, who he was solid for them. Obviously, Kevin Durant was a greater, much like an improved player from that. So they're going to have cap space to sign some other guys that could be huge role players. I don't know names off the top of my head, but I don't see a Mavericks team who just traded away one of their starters and better players in DeAndre Jordan. Their starting point guard, Dennis Smith. Their starting shooting. They traded away 3 starters. They only have Doncic and Harrison Barnes left. And that with Kristpas Porzingis, that's going to be a talented team, but I don't see that team being the Golden State Warriors with at least 3 superstars.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think the Mavs will be beating the Warriors, especially next year. But, well, I say next year with, the first year with Kristaps and Doncic. But it's all the hypotheticals. It's if Clay leaves, if KD leaves, if DeMarcus, stuff like that. And obviously, we're not going to know that until it happens. But yeah, it is kind of interesting to think about. Even if the Warriors do lose one or two of the superstars, worst case scenario, they lose three: DeMarcus, Clay, and KD. But if they were to lose, let's say one or two of them, like Noah said, they would have more money to go get better role players, go get better, bench players. And, in a year or two, I'll be interested to see who those guys are that they would get. But, it's just a lot of hypotheticals at the moment. But Mavs will be good. I think they'll be a playoff team next year. And who knows? Maybe the West is tough. So, I could see them getting like the 8 seed and then maybe having to take on the Warriors in the first round, which could be an interesting matchup. But, it's crazy how much the league revolves around one team right now. Literally, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously in football you got like the Patriots and stuff, but the Patriots have never been one to, make huge superstar deals like other NFL teams have, paying players like absurd amounts of money. But with the Warriors, it's like every team, obviously you're trying to beat the champions, but it's so crazy. And I won't even say the Warriors. I'll say more specifically, and I'm not throwing hate at them. I'll say more specifically Kevin Durant, because imagine how different the league would be right now if Kevin Durant had won one playoff game with the Thunder. One playoff game. They're up 3-1 on the Warriors. Imagine if they win Game 5. How different the league would look right now. And I know that's another hypothetical too. It's just crazy to think about. And there's a lot that's going to happen in the next year, which will be fun.
So, sorry, Logan, I want to go back to something you said earlier when you were talking about the Knicks getting Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So, I'm reading Woj said something about Wesley Matthews and DeAndre Jordan possibly getting bought out by the Knicks and making them not a part of their team for the future. I'm not sure exactly how that messes with the cap space they have, but if they have the number 1 overall draft pick and they get Zion Williamson, I don't think that entices Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving to say, wow, I want to go play with that rookie. Because it's similar to like when the Cavs had the number 1 overall draft pick the year they re-signed LeBron. They got Andrew Wiggins, and I guess it ended up being a good trade for them because Andrew Wiggins didn't end up being as good as people said or thought he was going to be. But let's say, so they traded him for Kevin Love. And if Andrew Wiggins ended up being, like, I know there's different players, but like as good as Ben Simmons was or is with the number 1 overall pick, it might not have looked as good. But it's because when those superstars are going there, Kevin Durant is in his prime and Kyrie Irving is in his prime. Those guys have a limited number of years left that they're going to be able to dominate the league the way they are today. So they don't want to play necessarily as good as Zion is. They don't want to play with a rookie that, could end up being really good, might end up not being very good at all. They want to play. So I think that the Knicks would use Zion Williamson to trade for another. Like, it'd be hard for them to trade directly Zion Williamson for a superstar player, but it would have to be a trade similar to what the Cavs did to get Kevin Love. And I don't know how much they could get with that, but they'd probably want, I'd say it wouldn't be, if best case scenario for Knicks fans, obviously, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Zion Williamson. I'd say they trade Zion, might have to throw in Dennis Smith Jr. to get that trade done for another, like the Chris Bosh to LeBron and D Wade, or the Kevin Love to LeBron and Kyrie, that third player that would make them a big three, a superstar team that could compete out east.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying about, Zion Williamson not being not going to lure Kevin Durant there. That's not what I think will lure. I mean, okay, that's a factor. Let me say that. So Kevin Durant has just won back-to-back titles with the Warriors and probably going to win a third, right? And the last 2 years, it's been about, KD's a snake, KD, yada, yada, yada. A lot of people really think, and I think this too, KD's about to win his third ring with the Warriors. All of this talk the last couple years about him being a snake. If he wants to, which I think it's a high possibility, he can go get a super max with the Knicks and have the potential to win a ring on his own, not on his own, but being the guy. Like coming to the Warriors, he automatically became the guy pretty much. But Steph was always their franchise player. KD can say, okay, now I can go get paid and be that guy and prove to people that I'm good enough now to go get a ring. And if he were to go to the Knicks because of Supermax, and he's like, okay, they got Zion, they got some young pieces, some draft picks, stuff like that, then that's what I think might entice Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie, there's been rumors for the last couple of years about Kyrie in New York, and Kyrie's like, okay, they've got KD and Zion. If I join this team, we can win a ring. So that's why I think that. I don't think Zion would entice KD to come. I think the fact that KD's already won his 3 rings, already won 3 rings, and he's gotten the rings he's wanted. Now he can go get paid big time and potentially get more rings and be, what people wanted him to be in OKC.
Yeah, I think definitely New York would be a very possible option for him. He could make that LeBron-like move, how LeBron went to LA after winning in Cleveland. I don't think KD will go back to OKC. I think there's too much bad blood there as long as Westbrook is still there. And plus, that wasn't his hometown the way that Cleveland was for LeBron. But I think that he could go to New York and Kyrie could join him. I think that he's the only guy in the league, really, that could go to another team and actually make them a contender at this point. Not saying he's the best player in the league, not making that argument. I'm saying what his decision is going to be the most valuable around the league because there's not very many teams. I mean, unless you're going to take like 3 or 4 superstars from a different team and put them on one team, including LeBron James, that could really make a run at the Warriors. Because I know, Logan, we've had this conversation. If you trade Anthony Davis for all those young guys, is LeBron and Anthony Davis with some other role players beating the Warriors? Probably not. But if Kevin Durant leaves the Warriors to go to the Knicks, not only does that break up the Warriors team, make them a little bit more vulnerable, which they haven't been since they've got KD, it allows them to create another team that is of equal talent. It would be a more competitive league again because right now, people are fighting for statistics, awards, and second place at this point, really. Like, that's why James Harden's putting up the numbers he is because he's like, well, probably not going to win a ring, so might as well look like the best player. So I think that where Kevin Durant ends up signing, because if he re-signs with the Warriors and they're able to keep Clay or DeMarcus, I still, there's not many, unless somebody makes some huge leap for a team, there's not anybody I see beating them. But if he goes to the Knicks, if he goes to LA with LeBron, then those teams could then make a run at the Warriors and the other dominant teams around the league.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Connor, we can go ahead and wrap it up. I know we're going a little longer than we expected to, but
yeah, it's for sure going to be an interesting summer for the NBA. For someone that I'm a Celtics fan, but I just casually watch the Celtics. Like, I'm more invested in baseball and football and hockey, so it's going to be interesting, especially from a perspective of someone that really only watches the playoffs, of how that could change stuff. So coming out of it, I think the Mavs got a lot better. Personally, I think the Knicks got screwed, but I don't know basketball, and I don't know the value of picks in basketball. So in the end, I think it's going to come down to if Kristaps can stay healthy. But other than that, that is going to be it for the Kristaps trade talk, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.